Welcome to the lABLEd podcast, a show about disability, illness and difference. I'm Lucy.
And I'm Alice.
And that's Lola.
Kaleidoscope identity, and this is who I'm meant to be. I'm just labelled me. I'm just labelled me.
Don't forget, in this episode, I might swear, Lucy might cry, and you can check out details of the trigger warnings on our website. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode in lABLEd Podcast's first season. Here we are. It's exciting.
We've made
It's
it.
me and Lucy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, good stuff.
So, it's a fABLEd. Lucy's doing all the legwork.
I'm very proud of this one, actually, and I will tell you why in a minute.
I was really surprised when you said this is what you were doing, because I did not think that this would be your sort of thing at all.
No, it's taken about four years for Mum to persuade me to watch it, because anybody that knows me knows that I hate horror films of any kind. I can't even watch Jurassic Park without feeling a little bit sick. And Mum said, "Oh no, you can watch this. It'll be fine." And I went, "Really?" And she went, yeah, you'll be fine. Because we all know my mum is a little bit, when it comes to like, oh, this film's really good, an affair to remember.
Yeah.
So I kind of watched it. I was like, it's going to be fine, it's fine. And if I'm too scared, I can turn it off, can't I? So we are talking about today A Quiet Place. Specifically the first two films, because the third film, I watched the third film in the interest to see if there was any like deaf character within the third film, but there wasn't really, and that one for me was the most horrific because I was in the cinema and I can't turn the volume down in the cinema, so every little noise was making me jump because I was expecting like a big loud bang at some point, but there wasn't really. So yeah, we're going to do A Quiet Place, the first two films.
I've never seen any of these.
Right.
And I do really like horror films.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I used to go to cinema. Like, I did a film studies degree. I used to have to sit in a cinema for education.
Yes.
For like 3
great,
years.
isn't it?
I used to go to the cinema a lot, and then as my sight has changed and stuff, just the unreliability of audio description at cinema.
Yeah.
I just don't go.
The thing, and I actually thought about you when I was watching the first two films, and I'll start by asking you this question: does horror film and suspenseful films, is it ruined sometimes by the audio description? Because the horror and the suspense is like not knowing what's around the corner, but if you've got the audio description going, Jeff walks to the door, and then there's a gap, Jeff walks outside, and you're like, yeah. Does it add to it? Do you know what I mean?
I think it depends, because obviously audio description is scripted, and
Yes.
I've definitely watched some stuff. Like, there was a horror show on Netflix that me and Dave watched we watched earlier this year.
Yeah.
And it was based on an Edgar Allan Poe story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the person who written the script kept there was like this black bird that kept appearing. It was supposed to be like a bit of a sort of an omen of,
Yes.
something
Yeah.
bad's going to happen. And obviously, because it's Edgar Allan Poe, you're like, oh, it's a raven.
Yeah.
But literally like 10 episodes, the audio description's going, there's a crow on the roof. There's a crow, and I'm like, it's not a crow. So that, although generally the audio description was fine,
Yeah.
like, that really ruined it, because I was like, no, because it's not a crow.
It's like you're having an argument with
Exactly.
they're sat there with you going, it's not a crow though, shut up, it's not a crow.
Yeah. So there's some audio description, but the thing I would say is, like, audio description, it's narration, so
Yes.
it's not like a Jeff walks to the door. It would be, Jeff slowly approaches the door and places his hand on the doorknob.
Right, okay.
So it's more akin to almost reading.
Right.
So the suspense is there. There's definitely been some stuff that's not necessarily kind of ruined for me. Like, I imagine there are things that look worse than they are described, but then also the other way around. I'm sure that there are some things that are described that make me like particularly in like a really gory horror film that will be described that I'm like, oh, that makes me feel a little bit ill.
Yeah.
But if I could see it, I'd be like,
you probably wouldn't feel as bad.
That's clearly puppets and stuff like that. It's not. It's.
I got visions of like you watching a horror version of the Muppets.
So yeah, that's that.
And I don't know, like, you might have to try watching A Quiet Place for me with the audio description in, because I don't know whether it would, like, because it's just talking all the time, whereas A Quiet Place, they have to be quiet. So the premise of A Quiet Place, this is where I'll start, is the fact that basically aliens land in America and they are very sensitive to noise. They can't see or smell, but they can hear. They've got very, very sensitive hearing. So in order to stay alive, you have to be quiet.
We'd be fucked then.
Yeah, we absolutely. I'd be like, just come and get me now, will you please? Yeah. Just come and eat me now, because I can't do it.
I can't do 45 minutes of silence. That's not happening.
I hate it. I hate sitting in quiet. I just hate awkward silence. And stop it. Just talk to me. So the first two films, Emily Blunt plays the mum, and John Krasinski, I think that's his surname, plays the dad. John Krasinski is also the director and producer, and I think co-writer in.
Is he not also is it
Emily Blunt's husband?
His husband, yeah.
Yeah. So they have 3 children. Let me just have a look. Yes.
In the film.
Yes. So there is the son, a little toddler. They have 4. It's the son who is hearing, a little toddler who's hearing, who dies within the first 5 minutes because he comes out of a shop and starts playing with a noisy car toy, and it just comes and swoops down and kills him. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry about that. Sorry. I just realised I should have said spoiler alert.
Should we just say spoiler alert for
I think
these
we ought to.
films?
I think
just now. Blanket spoiler.
Yeah. And they have, at the time when the film starts, they have the son who's hearing, the little boy who dies within the first 10 minutes, and then they have Reagan, who is the daughter, played by Millicent Simmons, who is deaf, and she's deaf in the film, but she is also actually deaf in real life. And so to communicate,
well done, Hollywood. You managed to do something right.
Hurrah! So in the film, as a family unit, they can all communicate with one another without saying anything, because they learnt sign language for Reagan. So they use ASL, which is American Sign Language. So Reagan's deafness is not just a plot device, it's an integral part of her character and for her family's survival. In a world dominated by silence, her disability becomes an unexpected advantage. The films deftly showcase how Reagan's keen sense of perception and resilience on visual cues allow her to anticipate threats that others miss. So obviously, because she can't hear, she's very acutely aware of what's going on around her. Apart from when the problem I think she has is that when things are going on behind her and she can't see, because obviously if she can't hear and she's completely deaf, and something's creeping up behind her, she relies on other people going, there's something behind you.
It's behind you.
She's a bit of she has a bit of a teenage strop halfway through the film and runs off to try and like save, sort it out basically and save the family. And she's on her own, and I'm like, something's going to come up behind her and eat her. Something's going to come up behind her and eat her. But it doesn't. So ASL is used throughout the films to communicate. So when she's speaking, it's all when they're using ASL, it's all subtitled so that you can understand what she said. I mean, I know a little bit of BSL, but I do not understand ASL whatsoever. It's completely different. I'm like, no, I have no idea what you're saying.
It's surprisingly different, isn't it? From
Really. Like the alphabet is all on one hand, which I think is really good, because if you're in a bar and you're holding a beer, you haven't got to use both hands to communicate with your friend. Whereas
you can see where Lucy's priorities are.
BSL is very difficult to do, like, because you have to use both hands and facial expressions, like rubbing your head and patting your stomach at the same time. Patting your head and rubbing your stomach, I don't know. Either way. So this film became, when it came out and they were like, oh, we've actually used a deaf person as a deaf character and it's authentic and stuff. It was seen as I think it was seen as like a pivotal sort of point where people were like, oh, this is the way forward. The disabled people, a lot of the disabled community were like, there we go, that's what you need. Like you just said, Alice, well done, Hollywood, you've got it right.
Yeah. When do you remember when the first one was out? It's a few years ago.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's quite a few years ago.
Must be like 8 years maybe.
Yeah, probably something like that. So Millicent actually taught Emily Blunt and John Krasinski ASL herself behind the scenes, so they were learning on the job basically. And the film went to great lengths to ensure authenticity in their portrayal. A crucial aspect was the meticulous incorporation of American Sign Language into the production. Behind the scenes, the filmmakers collaborated closely with deaf consultants to guarantee an accurate and respectful use of ASL that involved.
That's what was. I was going to be one of my questions. Sorry, go on. Involved not only ensuring correct grammar and syntax, but also capturing the nuances of the deaf culture and communication. The decision to prioritise ASL over subtitles for Reagan's dialogue was a bold choice that further elevated the film's authenticity. What was your question going to be? I know, just that you sort of, my immediate thought was like, how tokenistic were they with the kind of the use of ASL? Was it like she knows what she's signing, so we'll just let her sign it, and but it does sound like they've made an effort to make sure that what's being said is really accurate.
I can't remember which Marvel film was it, or was it a TV show that it was like it was a deaf character. I'm sure it was Marvel.
Echo is in the Marvel universe. She's got limb difference and she's deaf.
Yeah, I'm sure that was kind of like around. I can remember like around at the same sort of time. Whether it was like, oh, then this is being made also by Marvel.
I think the first series she appeared first in the Hawkeye series, which I think may have been COVID times, or maybe post-COVID time.
I think didn't you watch it and you said to me, have you watched Hawkeye? Or somebody did. It could have been you. I don't know.
It was probably we watched those. We didn't actually get through. Then there was a Echo got her own series. I think, was it this year, end of last year?
Yeah.
That honestly, like, that character, she's Indigenous American, she's got limb difference, she's deaf, and she's like a really strong, powerful fighter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why is this show not more interesting? Yeah. She is so badass. Why am I bored?
Yeah. Was it the script?
I think it was, the story was just a little bit
limp.
Yeah. Yeah, it was another slightly dull revenge story, and people might tell me, oh, if you got to the end, it picks up, but
that's a bit like reading it's a bit like reading a book that you find really boring that everybody else loves, and that just stick with it, and you're like, but I am bored, I want to put it down.
I believe very strongly that life is too short to read bad books.
Yes, it is. You are right.
There's so many good books out there.
Yeah, if I don't like it, I'll stop it and I will pick something else up.
Yeah.
So sorry if everybody who watched Echo thought it was really good. We can't really pass any judgment on that. But so I can remember like A Quiet Place coming out, or the second Quiet Place coming out, and then Echo coming out at the same time. And it was a bit like, oh, disability representation, is this the pivotal moment we've all been waiting for? And I was like, yeah, maybe it is. And then it was like, oh, okay. Slightly. Ever since, oh, was it just a fad, was it? So Quiet Place films have been widely praised for their representation. It's essential to acknowledge, though, that all feedback not all feedback within the deaf community has been uniformatively positive. Some have expressed concerns about the film's resilience on a crisis situation to highlight the ability of a deaf character. They argue that this reinforces the perception that deaf individuals solely as survivors and victims. Additionally,
So do you have an example of that? Like, does she is there like she needs rescuing a lot?
I wouldn't say rescuing a lot. And again, spoiler alert, sorry. So that they basically have set themselves up in an underground bunker in the garden of the house where they live. And they live outside in the countryside. And when they're in this bunker, her father, John Krasinski, has been trying to make her different type of hearing aids, because obviously if the batteries run out or something, they've got a backup in case the hearing aid goes, because she's got a cochlear implant in her ear. And it's the use of the cochlear implant device that when she puts it near a speaker or a microphone or anything that amplifies sound, the feedback, noise, is so loud that it hurts the ears of the alien. The alien can't cope with it and sort of shrivels up and backs away. Right. So that the fact that she's got a hearing aid device is the only thing really that's keeping the aliens at bay, because of this. They can turn the radio on and shove this hearing aid device into the speaker, and that's the only thing that's keeping them at bay really. The other thing is that they don't like water. They can't swim, these aliens. So when they've got a stream, and when they want to talk audibly to one another, they have to go to the stream, because the noise of the water muffles the sound that the aliens can hear, so they're safe when they're talking in the water. But obviously that doesn't really matter to Reagan because she's deaf. So, but yeah, I did feel a bit like, well, the only thing that's saving these people she was a victim really, because it was can we just borrow your hearing aid while we just shove it in this speaker to stop the aliens? And I kind of get it a little bit, but at the same time you're well done for the representation, but here you're using a hearing aid to save yourself.
I think that's it's one of the things that I always feel like they do one or the other. There's a show again on Netflix. It's a sort of slightly harmless comedy show, and it's got a wheelchair user in it. And there's an episode where somebody comes in from head office to take photos of all the store staff, and he spends the whole episode avoiding the guy because he doesn't want to be front page of the magazine of look how inspirational it is to having this wheelchair user here. And you're like, yes, absolutely, we should be making jokes about this. And it felt really well done.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that the guy sitting in that wheelchair is non-disabled.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Just you can do what you can either cast a disabled person, and you're like, yes, excellent, we've cast a disabled person. Yeah. And then the story, you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Or it's the other way around. You're like, this story, they've got it. Yeah. And then you're just like, oh, but that person is not disabled.
Mm-hmm. And it is. I think being a wheelchair user, if you have got a wheelchair user in your story or your cast or whatever, it is very easy to just stick a non-disabled person into a wheelchair and go, there you go, solved. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, even for the, you know, for A Quiet Place, you could easily have a hearing person in that role, and they wouldn't even need to learn ASL. They'd need to learn the hand movements for the bits where they have lines. You know, you can see how in a lot of ways it's not easier, but you can see why people will be like, well, we'll just do that instead.
Yeah. And I don't know whether A Quiet Place, they kind of ran out of steam with, like, and they thought, oh yeah, well, we've cast a deaf person, so we've done all we can. And then they just, like, went, but the story, I mean,
they would have written the story before they did the casting.
That's true. But
so they made that decision.
Yeah. Wouldn't you have thought that the deaf actress might have gone, hang on, look at this?
Not
No.
if I was a
No, probably not.
disabled actress in Hollywood. I would be going probably being like, I've got bills to pay. The exposure for this is a huge deal. I'm not going to rock the boat, considering the things that non-disabled actors have been sacked for. Like, I'm not going to be pushing against stuff, you know.
Emily Blunt's husband going, don't quite think I like the story, mate. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that criticism was widely thing. I think it was just like there was a few people that were like, hang on a minute.
I think,
but it's valid. It is valid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So despite these criticisms, the overall impact of A Quiet Place on disability representation cannot be overstated. The films have undoubtedly shifted the cinematic landscape, prompting a broader conversation about inclusivity and the importance of authentic storytelling, which is true, because when they were like making the film, they were like, oh, this film's gonna have a deaf actress in, and then there was lots of interviews with her and saying, you know, how important it is to have authentic representation. And she's right, isn't she? I mean, we're coming from a standpoint of, we both have media degrees.
I mean, absolutely. Like, my argument would be, if our starting point is having authentic representation but shit stories, at least we've got authentic representation.
Yeah, and we can work on the stories as a collaborative effort, can't we? It's, you know, we've got to get in the door first before we
started in a terrible position of non-disabled people playing like horribly, like, you know, the inspiration or pity kind of stories
Daniel
that they were
Day-Lewis.
telling. Well, even before that, like, you know, in the 50s, an affair to remember type stories.
Blanket over the knee.
Yeah, if they were, you know, if that's the stories that they were telling, like, we have, in some ways, you know, having a central character who's pivotal to kind of the story in a way that sort of is like, I play an active role rather than being like a plot device, or even, you know, going back to Echo, having a central character who's a fucking disabled superhero.
Yeah.
Having a disabled superhero is very, very far sort of away from an affair to remember. You know, we're if we can keep moving in this forward direction, like, we're not moving fast enough. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But if we're taking these steps, you know, at least we are moving forward.
I think stories, and not necessarily about people that are disabled. If you look at, like, I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine last week.
Be very careful, because I'm watching it at the weekend.
I'm not going to say anything about the story. It is brilliant, by the way. You're going to love it. But I sat there and I thought about X-Men, and I love the X-Men films. They are my favourite sort of superheroes anyway. But you look at the X-Men. So they're a group, and they are called like mutants and misfits a lot, aren't they? The X-Men. There's always something slightly odd.
The mutants thing is a big, mutants is a big thing. Yeah.
They're slightly odd. So Wolverine's got a metal skeleton, and, you know, there's like, I'm trying to think of the others. Storm, she can make storms happen just by like raising her hands and stuff. I've not watched X-Men for a long time, can you tell? But
how irritating would that be if like you just go to open the cupboard, it's fucking raining again.
Sorry about that. Well, she wears gloves, doesn't she? She should stop it. But it's a bit like, so I always think in my head, I always think like that's a bit like having a disability. It's a bit like a gang of disabled people getting together and just sorting the world out for non-disabled people who have got in the shit. We've just turned up and gone, we've sorted it, it's fine, you're all safe, you can come out now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, as soon as anything goes wrong, the X-Men turn up, sort it, and it's fine. Like, you only ever need us when you're in the crap. That's my my take from X-Men. But it just makes you think, like, it's either, oh, the poor disabled person, or, oh, thanks for saving us, when actually we'd run out of ideas altogether. It's a bit like, I get that with The Quiet Place. It's the same sort of feeling that I'm left with. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. It is that exactly like like
Saviour.
you know, yeah, it is, and it just feeds straight into that inspiration stuff, isn't it? It's you must be really special. If you can put up with being disabled, you must be extra special.
Yeah.
Because no regular person could be like, oh, I'm disabled, is like, you know, and I'm just gonna go and do my job and come home and hang out with my kids and see my partner and, you know, have a shower and read my book and go to bed and do it again tomorrow. Like, if you're disabled and you're outside, you must be really, you either have a carer with you or you must be something really special.
Yeah. Oh, well done, you've managed to brush your teeth. You know? It did leave me with the same sort of feeling that I got when I watched the X-Men. But I still like the X-Men, and I particularly like X-Men, the cartoons that used to be on Saturday morning before Live and Kicking. They were the best.
Yeah.
That was the best X-Men. That was even before Hugh Jackman, so, you know. So yeah, but that is A Quiet Place. I was very proud of myself. I managed to watch all 3 films.
So hold on. I need to know why she's not in the third one.
I don't know either. They've changed the story completely, so they're not focusing on the family.
On that family anymore.
There's no Emily
So does that
Blunt.
family, like, save themselves at the end of the second film? Like, do they get to the point of resolution for that family and then they're just like, oh, but this is also happening?
I don't know how to tell you this without giving you away a lot of spoilers. So, spoiler alert. If...
Do the aliens eat them all?
No. No. John Krasinski dies in the first film. The dad dies.
Okay.
And then the second film, Emily Blunt is left with the kids. Emily Blunt has a baby in silence in the first film.
No, she doesn't. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she
No,
does.
She does not.
She does. I don't know how she does it, but she does.
Having not given birth, I cannot vouch for this from personal experience. However,
even I sat there and went, how has she done this?
I know how big a vagina is, and I know that those things stretch, but I also know how big a baby is.
Yeah.
And if you are trying to force something baby size out of something vagina size, you're at least going to be going, oh, you fucker, like you stubbed your toe. No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think so.
I'm sorry.
But
There's suspension of belief, but then I'm like, no, this is where my line is.
Yeah, but how scary must that be? You've got aliens outside who's going to eat you if you make a noise. And then you've got like, oh my God, I've gone into labour. I'm going to have to scream. But it's like, isn't it Scientology where they're not allowed to, or they don't recommend you
It's something like that.
screaming, don't they? Cause, so John dies in the first film. I don't know what his name is in the film, because I don't think he actually says out loud what his name is. Emily Blunt is left with the kids in the second film, and then she goes with Cillian Murphy, who is in Peaky Blinders. He's in the second film, and the deaf girl sort of goes off on her own, and they end up swimming to an island because they're safe on the island.
With the baby?
No, not with the baby. I don't know what happens to the baby, if I'm on it. I can't remember what happens to the baby. What does happen to the baby?
Yeah, because also, like, you can't keep a baby very quiet.
No,
I tried
they
really hard. Turns out, babies don't want to be
They
quiet.
put it in this box with an oxygen tank on its face. to keep it quiet. I don't know. Anyway, survival, innit? But yeah, she ends up swimming to this island where all of the other people have gone from, like, round where she lives, because the alien, we were discovering in the second films, the aliens can't swim, they don't like water, so they're safe on this little island, and they can make as much noise as they like because the aliens can't get to them. So they get to this island and there's all the houses, they're having campfires and barbecues and stuff. So yeah, and she's just carrying this microphone and this radio with her to, like, jam her hearing aid into it as soon as she comes anywhere near her. But it was completely by accident that she found that she could, like, scare the monsters away. I mean, I used to sit next to a lad at school who used to wear a hearing aid, who would come in every morning and I'd hear, ooh, like this, and I'd be like, your hearing aid. Well, he'd go, what? Because he can't, ooh, like, turn your hearing aid down, sorry. Because it was like, the noise was just like piercing, and you'd put your teeth on edge. But, yeah, so.
Yeah, I very, very briefly dated somebody with a hearing aid, and I can remember on more than one occasion, like, we'd just be sitting, like, near to each other, and then he'd be like, oh my God. That's not why I stopped dating him.
No,
there were other reasons.
No, but yeah, it is a very good film. I did enjoy it. There was a few times where I jumped and my body went into spasm, and I was like, oh Jesus. I mean, where every time we join the recording session here, it makes a noise when somebody joins, and every time it makes me jump because I've got cerebral palsy and my startle reflex still exists. So I was very proud that I managed to get through all 3 films without really injuring myself, to be honest. So yeah,
I'm gonna say I thought that this recording would make me be like, oh, I really want to go and watch those films, but I think I wouldn't say it's put me off.
I wouldn't.
It's just, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna rush out and see them.
No. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not gonna make
it's just no. It's
if you come round for a couple of days, I was like, we're gonna sit watch all 3. We'll have a marathon.
It's just the kind of, you know, when you know that it's a deaf actress and you like, and it's a genre that I like. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this. Let's see where this goes. And but it does sound like a little bit like, by the end of it, I'd be a bit like, oh, it's kind of the same again.
Yeah, the third film is different people and it's set in New York, which is a lot harder.
And there's no deaf people in that one.
No, there's no deaf people in that one. Right. But it's a lot harder to stay quiet in New York than it is to stay quiet in the countryside. So, yeah. There is that added challenge. Like the third one, a helicopter went over everybody to say, we have been attacked by aliens, please stay indoors, they are sensitive to sound, and it was like a big loud hailer out of a, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're just dragging them to the people. Just stop talking, shush. But yeah, it was a slightly, the third one when we
live in a world where, like, you know, fucking O2 can send 50 million people one text message at once, you do it that way.
Yeah.
Do it that way. And then if you are stupid enough to still be one of those people who has their phone on loud. I don't think my phone has been on loud since like 2007.
No, mine hasn't either.
Like, if you're one of those people who has their phone on loud, then the aliens will eat you.
Can you believe that people used to pay for ringtones in the early 2000s? Like, off the back of a magazine going.
Yes, I remember that. And you had to dial like a 49-digit telephone number to download your ringtone and pay £2.50 for it.
And then it always sounded crap, didn't it? Yeah. Always sounded crap. Can't be, if my phone rang now, I'd be like, what the hell's that? What the hell is that? Yeah, if you're stupid enough to have your phone on noisy, you deserve to get eaten by an alien. The aliens, by the way, I will describe the alien for you. It basically looked like the alien from Stranger Things. It looked like the same alien.
Right, I see.
So you know how when you were a kid and you used to draw an alien?
In my head, I immediately was like, oh, it's in my head I thought it would be like Predator. Like,
Yeah, I can
but
see
that's
that.
not-
And it's a
that's-
little bit like that, I suppose. I would say it's a cross between the two,
right.
I think. But yeah, it's the whole and the ear situation. Like, it opens its ear, like, cover. It's got a cover over its ear, and when like it's listening for things, it does a shot of the ear canal, and you're like, that's. I don't like ears. I don't like body parts, to be honest. Like, I don't like eyes. I don't like noses. But it's like they show you like down the ear canal because it's like open to the elements, and they're like here, and you can see like it pulsating.
All the little hairs and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. And it looks all like slimy, but it will look slimy if it's an alien, won't it?
Yeah.
Because it's covered in like space goo or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
generally, yes, bit space goo.
I did enjoy specifically the first. I really enjoyed the first film. The second film was okay, but I spent the whole time going, "Is that Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders?" And Mum's like, "No." I was like, "It is." I had to Google it in the end. It was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the second film. But like, I came away from the first film thinking, well, that's a story on its own. Does it really need a second one? And the second one, you go, oh yeah, I can see what they've done with that. I mean, it's like any more with that family would have been enough. But the third one was like they had to change it completely, otherwise you'd have just gone like
It would just be
same story.
Like the Halloween movies where there's like 70,000 of them,
Yeah.
and it's just the same.
Yeah,
Or the Scream movies.
yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
So I'm very proud that I managed to get all the way through it. I think I need a certificate and a gin.
I was going to say, you certainly, I think, should be feeling a little less afraid of the dark now. Maybe not. I don't know.
Still
Make
don't
it
like
worse or better.
I still don't like dinosaurs, but I think I'm all right with the quiet. It's fine. Well, I say I'm all right with the quiet. Actually being quiet is impossible, but you know,
I was gonna say.
there's nothing to be frightened of if it's quiet. If you make me
It's
jump.
the joys of having a guide dog. I can legitimately just talk at something
Exactly.
all day,
Yeah.
and it's fine.
Yeah. Whereas I just talk to myself. I mean,
I've seen it happen. Like, we'll be on a video call, and I'm here, and she's talking, oh, come on, Lucy, where have you been? She's chuntering to herself.
That's exactly what it is, chuntering. I would definitely get killed by an alien in a quiet place because I'd just be like, where's that? Where did I put that? Where did I put that pen that I need to write this secret message to somebody? But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'd be fucked in the quiet place because I cannot see well enough to read hand gestures and ASL, and unless like you're texting me or something, I can't read just a handwritten note that you passed me. You know, I need time to like see the thing I'm looking at and read it.
You did your like magnifier thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Otherwise, we would be
reader.
like the battery's gone. You can't talk to me anymore. Yeah. We would be terrible in a crisis. We would be out.
And I'd be walking into shit and knocking over shit left, right, and centre.
There is a I was just talking about the X-Men.
Yeah,
we would make terrible X-Men.
I mean, fundamentally, if you got a group of disabled people in a room, gave them capes and went go and save the world, there would be a moderate level of chaos before anything got done.
Absolutely. There'd be 6 months of arguing amongst themselves and then going, hang on, can somebody help me with this, please?
Yeah.
And then, like, save the world. How long have we got? 6 hours. No, it's not happening. Like I always say, like between the two of us, me and you, we make one working human. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got legs, I've got eyes. Together we're like one fully functioning adult. But like, yeah, could you imagine? Like,
what's the song? Isn't it like Let's Make Beautiful Music Together or something?
I think somebody should make a comedy film about disabled people just being asked to save the world, and like the Avengers, but like gimpy, Gimpy Avengers. What can we call it? Let us know, listeners, if you listen to this episode. Like, can you design my cape for me, please?
Yeah.
It gets.
No.
I can't wear a cape. I can't wear a cape. It gets
No,
stuck
it's
in my
going to get
wheels.
caught in your... I was going to say, the closest you could get would be one of those, like, 1920s capes that comes sort of, like,
Over
about to your waist.
yeah,
and then you have over one shoulder.
Like a shrug. Like, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. We'll just get you a bolero, and the rest of us will wear capes.
I'm sorry, I was late.
course,
I was fitting my bolero. I made myself
And,
laugh.
I couldn't wear like an eye mask thing because
No.
it's just limiting what's already restricted. So
We just
you know,
get you
I'm
some
just-
cool glasses, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
like-
I'll be like the guy from is it Star Trek, the laser eye guy?
With the where
I have
you,
so many problems with that.
you put like a hairband over your eyes as a kid. You're like, I'm a guy from Star Trek. I realise now how problematic that is. I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But you know, that just makes me laugh. Somebody should definitely write that movie. We could have like a comedy scene where we're just arguing for 45 minutes over who's doing what.
I mean,
What's your special
I
skill?
feel like we need to have a soft copyright here,
Yeah.
and we need to get somebody with writing skills involved.
What would your special skill be as a superhero, Alice?
I can make a surprising amount of mess whilst just making a cup of coffee. It's my special
Right.
skill, probably.
Do you want to, I don't know how that's going to save the world.
Oh, you want a skill that will save the
Yeah,
world?
of course I do. We're like the Gimpy Avengers.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about the thing
Alice-
that people are like, that's a bit special even for you.
Alice is a tea's maid. Like, does anybody want a cup of coffee?
I will pour some of it on you. What would my specialist skill be? I mean, in my day job, I'm pretty good. As Adam kept telling people in my old job that I'm pretty good at telling people off.
Right.
Adam went around for a week telling people that I told a couple of social workers off in my old job, and I was like, I didn't tell them off. That's not what I was doing. I was being very professional.
I was being very stern. I think my specialist skill would be able to tell you whether something that looks flat, some kind of flooring that looks flat, whether it is actually flat or not, just by looking at it, because I can do that. Somebody goes, oh, that's flat. No, it's not. I'm telling you now, that's not flat. That probably would be my... I don't know how useful that would be in saving the world, but, you know.
I don't have any skills related to, like, being visually impaired. I've learned to do this instead type stuff. I've nothing like that. Being visually impaired, I've learned that I walk into shit. My specialist skill is to have very bruised legs.
What we need is a millionaire who can build us suits that can, like, shoot fire from your hands and, you know, jet packs on your feet and stuff.
I'll be honest, it just sounds like a lot of work. Like, can I just be the secretary and the tea's maid?
Can we just have the costumes?
Nobody wants to see me in a catsuit, Lucy. It's not a good
No, I
look,
don't
I'll
think
be
anybody
honest.
wants to see me either, to be honest. But I mean, we could perhaps just like get a cape that just covers my head, like I look like a tent, like a bog roll cover. Like, don't worry, I'm here, everybody. It's fine. You're all safe. Sit down. I feel like I'm in a fever dream. So yeah, that's The Quiet Place.
and that's the end of our first season.
Got out with a bang.
Madness, yeah.
I feel that went downhill very quickly.
It certainly spiraled into something I was not expecting it to spiral.
It's fine.
into
We're going to
for a
listen back to
Friday
this,
morning.
and it'll be like we'll be giggling because we're just ridiculous, and that's what people like. They like our little banter, you see.
They will like it. We will make sure they like it.
They will.
And if you did like it, then you know that you can go and you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, because it helps us raise our profile, and it will recommend us to other people who like similar podcasts than as you. You can also leave us a review that's really awesome. If you are sitting in your Apple Podcasts app at the moment, just go and do it. Otherwise you will forget. I know you. I've met you before. You will forget. Everybody knows. So go and do that. You can also rate us on Spotify. You can share our posts out on social media. We have an awesome new social media person.
We
so
do.
Go and share out and share with the world all the hard work and things that she's doing. I guess stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed because we will be back soon. Yeah, people will be back sooner than people expect us to. And then we've got a back catalogue of 100 other episodes for you to listen to. So go and listen to all of that. Lucy, is there anything else that I need to tell people to do before we go away? I told you, Adam's right. I'm good at telling people stuff. I'm good at being stern and telling you to go.
I wasn't going to agree with you. I wasn't going to agree with you, Adam. But yeah, you were right. She's good at telling people to do things. You can donate to our GoFundMe, which is all the details of that are on our website, and any money that you donate goes to the cost of producing this little show that we call lABLEd. So if you have got any spare change to donate, please consider donating to our GoFundMe. That is it, though, I think.
I think you're right. Well, Lucy, it's been a pleasure. It sounds like we're finishing forever.
Yeah, we're not. We're not, are we? No, we're not.
I was going to say, I'm seeing you again in like another 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. Everybody else gets a break from you. Me, not so much.
Sorry.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you when we see you.
Bye-bye.
Shh. Don't wake Dora. Thanks for listening to the lABLEd podcast. If you like the show, you can rate, review, and subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at lABLEdPod.
This episode was edited by Adam Hall. Our music was by Maisie Crunden, and we'd like to thank the rest of the team involved.